At COP28, the Southeast Asia Climate and Nature-Based Solutions or SEAN Coalition launched the NbS tool, a web-based platform developed with support from Google.org to empower frontline organizations in creating high-quality nature-based solutions. From November 2023 to June 2024, the SEAN Coalition held engagement events in Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia, and Thailand to introduce the NbS tool and gather feedback. The first event took place in South Sumatra in October 2023, in collaboration with Hutan Kita Institute or HUKI. The next event was held in Manila, Philippines in November 2023, in partnership with the Philippine Eagle Foundation or PEF. In 2024, the team conducted a session in Phnom Penh, Cambodia in May, followed by events in Bangkok, Thailand and Jakarta, Indonesia in June. Over 200 participants shared their insights to improve the tool.
We believe that the NbS tool is user-friendly, with the right training, with the right assistance, with the right facilitation coming from NGOs and partners, our indigenous peoples, together with the new generation of indigenous professionals can really use the tool. So the NbS tool is a very important database and also a very important tool for them to properly manage their ancestral domain.
It is important that we utilize this nature-based solution approach, and the toolkit you have developed for that could be one very useful for indigenous people to follow, because you have this multi-layers of information there. So that could be helpful in following the sustainable development that without imbalancing the nature.
Harapannya dengan adanya NbS Tools akan mempermudah para penggiat NbS dalam merencanakan dan menentukan wilayah yang tepat, karena dengan NbS Tools kita bisa dengan mudah mendapatkan data yang komprehensif, baik data spasial maupun data sosial ekonomi, karena sudah disediakan oleh NbS. Seperti itu.
The insight gathered from this engagement and sharing event will be very instrumental in refining the tool to better serve the needs of the frontline organization.
As the SEAN Coalition moves forward, the team will continue refining the NbS tool based on user feedback. With ongoing improvements, the tool will address diverse environmental challenges, empowering local organizations to drive impactful climate action.
Good morning and a warm welcome to everyone joining us today, whether you're returning after yesterday's Part 1 session or tuning in for the first time. I'm Gabrielle Malcolm, the NbS Partnerships Coordinator for the SEAN Coalition, and I'm thrilled to be with you for the second part of our NbS Tool version 2 launch. It's such a passionate and diverse group gathered again, united by a shared interest in advancing high-integrity, nature-based solutions across Southeast Asia. Yesterday, we explored the enhanced features of the NbS Tool version 2 on the role of open data in driving meaningful outcomes for nature, people, and climate. Today, we continue that momentum with a live demonstration of the tool and a user feedback session, bringing this launch to a full and exciting close. For those new to the SEAN Coalition, we're a collaboration of 9 leading environmental NGOs across Southeast Asia, and our mission is clear. It's to define and demonstrate what high-quality NbS for climate looks like in this region, and to accelerate it, and scale its impact. So why Southeast Asia? Because the opportunity here is extraordinary. The region is home to 15% of the world's tropical rainforests, 20% of global biodiversity, and vast reserves of blue carbon and peatlands, critical ecosystems for global climate stability. It's also home to 675 million individuals many of whom rely directly on nature for their livelihoods and food security, and who are among the most vulnerable to climate change. Southeast Asia holds immense potential for investable carbon, including nearly all of the world's tropical peatland and carbon sinks. This is the foundation of our work at the SEEN Coalition, to unlock triple benefits for climate, nature, and people. We do this through three interconnected initiatives: the NbS tool, now in its second version, launching today, offering spatial analysis, baseline data, and project management features aligned with our triple benefit framework to support effective NbS planning and evaluation. The NbS portfolio is a showcase of high-integrity NbS projects from the region, selected using the SEEN Coalition's robust quality criteria to ensure meaningful impact. And the NbS incubator, leveraging the coalition's expertise and networks to support projects from early scoping to full design, grounded in the tool and high-quality NbS criteria. To all of the frontline organizations, project developers, and change makers joining us today, your work is the driving force behind this movement. You are the ones turning vision into reality and restoring ecosystems, empowering communities, and building resilience in the face of climate uncertainty. As we launch version 2 of the NbS tool, we hope it becomes an even more powerful resource for you to scope, design, and evaluate your projects with integrity, clarity, and purpose. This tool was built for you and shaped by your insights. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this journey. Now I'd like to hand it over to Dewi Sari, the NbS tool workstream lead for the SEEN Coalition, who will give an overview of the tool's version 2's methodology and data updates. Thank you, Dewi.
Thank you, Gaby. Welcome again, everyone who see us yesterday, and hopefully in today's session, you will get better information about the update of NbS tool version 2, which is we're going to give you walkthrough of the new version, and also I will give some explanation about the data that exists right now in NbS tool version 2. So right now, as mentioned yesterday, we only have the two type of NbS intervention in the NbS tool, which is the avoided deforestation and ecosystem restoration. An avoided deforestation project aims to prevent unplanned deforestation, so thereby preserving existing forest ecosystem and their biodiversity. This approach specifically focuses on the areas at risk of unplanned or illegal clearing and maintaining forest cover to enhance carbon sequestration, protect habitat, and sustain ecosystem services. And then for the other type of intervention, which is the ecosystem restoration, for this ecosystem restoration, we only be able to use the intervention under the natural regeneration method, because right now for active tree planting, restoration, and agroforestry, we still have lack of data and metrics that we could calculate with the current available data. And for this natural regeneration, it involves the recovery of degraded ecosystem by allowing native vegetation to grow back naturally without significant human intervention. Next. So how do we define the project footprint that is drawn in the polygon in the NbS tool? So for avoided deforestation, we define the area eligible as a forest cover because we projected the current forest cover. When the users draw their polygon, we will overlay the polygon with the current forest cover, and the eligible area for avoided unplanned deforestation is derived from future deforestation risk. And this map was developed by WRI using the current data that we have, using the logistic regression model based on 10 years of historical deforestation. And we also add explanatory variables such as topography, forest disturbance, distance to road, and other landscape metrics. And then to calculate the project baseline or business as usual, we quantify it using annual deforestation rate, and then we multiply it with the project duration that people choose in the NbS tool later on. So you will see how you're going to draw a polygon, and then when you're trying to calculate your baseline, we will ask you to define your project duration as well. Next. And for ecosystem restoration through natural regeneration, so mainly we will identify the area that is suitable for natural regeneration based on the current land cover in that polygon. And so we use the area that is not been forest for the past 10 years. Particularly, this area has been categorized as grassland, agricultural land, and other land as per IPCC land cover categories. Next. So in the NbS tool, we have several data set. So the first one is original layers and country-specific data set, and also global and regional data set that is already available, produced by other organization or institution that put it in public as well. Next. And this is the summary of our data set right now. For the interactive map, we have country-specific geospatial data set. It's around 31 data layers. This is the most updated data layers that we have. And for site information, we have 9 data layers. For nature, we have 6 data layers. And for people, we have 1 data layers, which previously we have more data layers, but we reduce it because of some of the accuracy of data. And climate, 5 data layers. And for data analyzer, we use all of this geospatial data set to identify the current condition and potential benefit. But for people aspect, we add more country statistic data set in 5 countries. Next. And just want to give you a quick overview about what is the data layers that is new, and there's also that we updated at this moment. Next. So for the new geospatial data layers, we have new data layers in current condition, which is the species conservation landscape, the tiger landscape conservation, and then frequency of land fires, global peatland drainage, and soil organic carbon. And for benefit layer, we have ecosystem service and environmental improvement. And if you want to know more about this layer, when you use the NbS tool, you can click the I button. So it's all this, the description and the sources where we're getting the data will be available on this I button. Next. And for the, we also updated our original data layer, which is the driver of deforestation. We updated the forest extents and deforestation drivers, including land use concession. And for future deforestation risks, we updated the latest historical deforestation data up to 2024. And the recent update of all explanatory variables as well. So this is the main updates on the future deforestation risk. Next. So beside those geospatial layers that are applicable for the whole Southeast Asia region, we also have this is the most new one in the version 2, the country-specific data. So for the geospatial data layers of specific country, we collect the data layers from different sources. It can coming from the ministry or the institution that is already working on this type of data layers. We have data categories into land concession, peatland, and forest cover. And then we do the data cleaning and also some of the data if it's already ready to use, and then we put it directly in our NbS tool. But some of the data where needs data classification, we do some data classification and then put it in NbS tool. But some of the data, we do some data harmonization and standardization as well. For example, the forest cover one. Next. And for socioeconomic data, this is mainly the statistic data that we can use as a matrix in the project pre-feasibility report. But of course, this data is secondary. And then if the frontline organization have their own data or primary data, it's better to use that. But we are aiming to put this statistic to just give them a nuance of what are the socioeconomic condition in their data. But again, since the socioeconomic data is really hard to define right now, so that's why we just trying to use what is available at this moment. So if anyone knows the better source for socioeconomic data, we are really open to change some of these data layers. And from these different sources, we do data cleaning and data normalization. and then we put it in our staging area to standardize the structure of the data, and then we put it in our warehouse, and then we put it in the NbS tool after that. I think that's it. And then now we're going to, if you have a more question on this methodology and data set, you can put it on the chat. And now we're going to do the live demo directly. That is, we're going to be led by Fatir. Over to you, Fatir.
Thank you, Unidewi. Good day, everyone. Thank you for coming to the NbS Tool version 2 webinar and live demo session part 2. My name is Fatir. I'm a product and engineering manager in Dabra, Indonesia. Today, I will briefly guide you to explore what are the features that we have in NbS Tool version 2. To start the journey, I will go to SynCoalition website at syncoalition.org. We use SynCoalition websites as the main channel to communicate all SynCoalition updates and initiatives. As soon as we arrive at SynCoalition website, we can see many information such as how many users and organizations registered and how many projects that user have scoped in NbS tool. We also can see the reason behind why we formed the coalition, our goals, and our key work streams. In SynCoalition, there are 3 work streams that have distinct role in NbS project development. The first work stream is NbS tool, which provides frontline organizations with access to data, analysis, project documentation, and visibility to investors to support high-quality, triple-benefit NbS projects. The second work stream is NbS Incubator, which offers tailored financial and technical support for early-stage NbS project development and design. The last work stream is NbS Portfolio, which showcases high-quality projects, set criteria for outcomes, and develops best practices to guide project developers on high-integrity NbS implementation. Now, we will go into the NbS tool. We can use the button in the NbS tool workstream information to go to the NbS tool, or you can directly type and open nbs.syncoalition.org in your browser. On the landing page, you can see that the NbS tool currently supports 6 languages, including English, Bahasa Indonesia, Thai, Khmer, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. NbS tool has 3 key functionalities: interactive map, data analyzer, and project dashboard. Each of these has its own specific function. We also provide a walkthrough page that explains all the features inside NbS tool, so new users can easily follow along. Here, you can also find testimonies from several organizations that have already used the tool. To analyze large project areas, registration is required. Without registering, the maximum project size that can be analyzed is only 100,000 hectares. With registration, it increased up to 500,000 hectares. The permission policy is important to note. We provide 3 types of permission policy that you can choose. If you choose do not allow NbS tool to save the project data, your data will not be saved, and it will only be stored temporarily in the NbS tool for 24 hours. If you choose allow NbS tool to save the project data, the tool can store your work, and you will also have access to your previous analysis. Last, if you choose allow NbS tool to save the project data and share it with the other parties, it means we can share your project data limited to SynCoalition NbS Incubator workstream. On the map, we have several groups of layers. The first group is country-specific layers, which has the most updated in version 2. These datasets are specific to a region or country, usually provided by official data custodians. For example, forest cover data that may come from different national sources. The second group is set information, which contain general layers related to location across Southeast Asia. Then we have layers related to nature, climate, and people. When I activate a layer, the map displays the corresponding data. Each color on the map represents different values, and you can always check the legend at bottom right corner. In this panel, you can adjust the opacity of each layer. This allows you to compare between one dataset and another. Layers also can be shown or hidden as needed, making the analysis more flexible. User can export the active layers along with their configurations, such as opacity and visibility, into image format or into GeoPDF format. In the data analyzer, the first way to define an area is by drawing directly on the map. You can create a polygon to delineate your project area. Once the area is drawn, the tool will calculate its size. If it's under 100,000 hectares, it can be analyzed even without logging in. If you are satisfied with the area, click Yes to start the analysis. If not, click No to reselect or redraw the area. Another method is to upload a spatial file, such as a save file, KML, or KMZ. After defining an area, the tool will provide a summary of the current condition of the selected area, such as type information, land cover, and historical deforestation. We won't go into every detail here. You can freely explore the result. Next, user can define project intervention parameters. Currently, there are two intervention types: avoided deforestation and ecosystem restoration. You can also set the time frame of the intervention, for example, over 30 years. Based on the chosen intervention, the tool will calculate the potential benefits. For nature, we can see the potential species habitat area that will be conserved. For climate, this includes the potential carbon emissions avoided and the amount of the carbon that can be sequestered. And for people, we can see how the intervention can reduce the potential erosion by X percentage. If user want to continue, they can generate a pre-feasibility project document by clicking Generate Project Document and select General Template option. Please note that this step requires logging in. After we get the notification that the document already generated, we will be redirected to the project detail page. On the detail page, the generated documents appear in the top right panel. We can download by clicking the download button next to the document name. The downloaded document provides a well-structured narrative of all the analysis conducted. One more template besides pre-feasibility template is a CCB template. We can use this template to create a CCB certification document by filling out the form given. Other than Word document format, we also can export all the analysis into a CSV format for further analysis. Within the NbS tool, all user activities are recorded and can be viewed in the user activity section on the profile page. This allows users to track their progress and review completed actions. That's wrap up our demo for today. In the future, whenever you have any feedbacks for the NbS tool, you can use this green feedback button so you can give your feedback. Thank you very much. We will now move to the feedback and Q&A session.
Thank you, Fatir, for walking us through the tool. I've just want to let the participants know that they can use the Q&A function for the webinar below to submit any questions that you might have for the NbS tool version 2 team. But in the meantime, and I think also we are looking to get some feedback from all of the attendees here today, I think on the features, the updated features, updated methodology and data, and then also I think some of the user functionalities of the tool. At this time, I see there's no open questions, so it would be great to just pop your questions in there when you do have a moment. But I think at this time, we can maybe start with a couple of questions on my end. So Fatir, I mean, you showed everyone, I think, how they are able to start a project, and you brought in a polygon. You mentioned that, of course, if they don't have, I think you said if they don't have the login credentials, they can only upload up to 100,000 hectares. I'm very actually curious about the two project interventions you mentioned. So you mentioned the avoided deforestation and ecosystem restoration. And you also mentioned you can kind of play around with the timeline of the project, whether it's a 20-year, 30-year, 40-year project, etc.
Yes.
How do the data layers work in understanding what parts of the project would have avoided deforestation component versus an ecosystem restoration component? And can you actually add in specific details of the types of, for example, species that you would bring in for ecosystem restoration?
Sure. The eligible area for the avoided deforestation is like, sorry. So yeah, we can see in the update, the feature update, we can see where is the area that can be used as the avoided deforestation or the ecosystem restoration, like that. Maybe Kadewi will be more suitable and to answer this actually. Can I get help, Kadewi?
Yeah, sure. So
Awesome.
Gabby, at this moment for this restoration activity, we leave it only for the natural regeneration, and in this version 2, we are not yet allowing people to able to put their data to to refine the parameters inside the NbS intervention. But this is something that we heard a lot from our users when they want to do the restoration. They want to do it specific for specific type of restoration for specific habitat. But because right now the tool is aiming for broader and like general overview of the NbS potential, so that's why we are not yet on that stage in this version 2. But if this is something that is very important, and we will try to accommodate that. But for the next version, which is the version 3, what we are trying to do is that we will allow users to actually update the species data, because as you see in the tools right now, the species data is derived from the IUCN species habitat data, which is quite overestimate but we provide the list of the species in the project pre-feasibility document, so then user can verify or validate the list of the species again. And then what we are trying to do for the next version is that, so if the users already have their species occurrence or finding or species occurrence data, and then they can change the species that potentially found in that area into the species that they already see or already documented in that site. So that is something that going to be available in version 3.
Okay, great. We're looking forward then to that. We actually do have a few questions now just come in from the audience. So I'll start with the first question from Paul Connell. Thank you. He says, hi, would there be country-specific data available for other countries soon?
Yeah, so we are trying to cover the whole Southeast Asia, Paul. Thank you for the question, Paul. This is keep coming up. Yeah, but right now, since not all of the country-specific data are made available to the public, and yeah, we are trying to actually working with the government of each country in Southeast Asia to be able to get more country-specific data. But of course, this is yeah, we can't promise yet, but yeah, this is really depend on the subject to willingness of the country to open their data, and also yeah, the availability of those data. But for our version 3, we aim to collaborate more with people in the region, such as Seravir Mekong and NTU and the other potential partners who have been working on some of the data in specific countries. So yeah, hopefully we can update for more country-specific data in other countries soon. Thank you, Paul, for the question.
I hope that was answered, Paul. Please, if you have still another follow-up question, please, you can add it to the Q&A function again. The next question is from Peter Novak. He says, thanks for the demo. To what extent have you adapted the tool for methodologies like Vera or Gold Standard?
Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, I think someone mentioned this yesterday as well. Because for example, like if we specific to the carbon credit project, meaning that there are a lot of standard that is very fiery, and then every standard has their own methodology. We were thinking to actually accommodate this Vera gold standard, with specific methodology that has been acknowledged as a high integrity methodology. But at this moment, this is very, updating all of this methodology into this tool really resource extensive. And then we found that there are a lot of tools out there that can cover this. So that's why this is not yet our priority, because our main user at this moment is frontline organization. And then when they want to develop more from pre-feasibility to feasibility, we have our NbS incubator that going to help them to do more detailed calculation. But if the users are more keen to have better specific methodologies in that, we can consider this as a priority as well. But at this moment, this is not our top priority, because we want this tool can generate information for them to understanding their NbS potential, but not so much to really goes into like pre-feasibility, feasibility, PDD, and then crediting their carbon credit, because we found that the most lacking right now in our frontline organization is in the very early stage to really understand, is there any potential in their area or not. So that's why that's still our main focus right now, Peter. But if our user are moving from this pre-feasibility and going more into this automated document generation, this is something that we can consider as well as next priority. Hope it answered your question.
Yep. Feel free to add a follow-up question if you feel like Dewi missed anything. I think the next question actually is quite similar and related. It's asking whether or not the generated feasibility report from the NBS tool can be used immediately to submit to standards like Vera or Gold Standard.
Yeah, I think for this pre-feasibility general template that we mentioned, that Fatir showed, probably that one is cannot, because what we do with this general document template is that we are trying to combine the common information that is required from different standard and then put it into different categories. So then people can understand, okay, so what are the main information that they need to submit for the certain standard. But if they going to submit to certain standard, they need to adjust again, except for CCB. For the CCB, yes, we directly use the latest version of CCB template. So if they complete the CCB template, then they can download that directly to the document and then can update the document in Word version as well. Yeah, hope it answer your question. This is anonym.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have one more question here in the chat or in the Q&A function. Can we test the NBS tool to assess the suitability of NBS initiatives at any potential sites, or is it site specific?
Yeah, it's can be tested in any potential site as long as in the region of Southeast Asia. But right now, if you test it in like ocean or in coastal area, the result will not be accurate, especially on the carbon storage, because we are not yet accommodating the specific methodology for mangrove ecosystem or for coastal ecosystem. So it's mainly for the forest area.
Did you want to talk a bit more to the plans maybe of integrating more blue carbon ecosystems into the tool? Because I know that we spoke about that a little bit in part one
Yeah.
yesterday, but maybe for those who might not have joined and might be new to this session today, just to understand, I think, what are some of the future plans for that integration?
Yeah, there is some discussion that we had within the SIN coalition member, including like TNC, WWF, CI, I guess, when we discuss about how SIN coalition can contribute more in the development of blue economy in ASEAN region. So we are trying to make this as priority, of course, how we could actually accommodate at least the mangrove ecosystem into the calculation. So then, because many frontline organizations also work in the coastal area where they already restore some mangrove ecosystem and protect the mangrove ecosystem as well. So this is something that we are aiming. But right now, our main challenge is actually to identify the most suitable methodology for Southeast Asia, and also the sources of the data, because I know like there is not many research already going on especially on the soil organic carbon allometrics or calculation. So this is something that we are going to work for the next version as well, JB.
I think just for clarity here, I think one of the questions is asking actually if at all the tool can be used at all for mangroves from a forest perspective. Could you clarify that for the audience?
Yeah, actually for the basically this is more on the forest area, but if you use the mangrove landscape, I would say the calculation, if it's the mangrove forest area, and then the I would say the calculation of soil organic carbon will not yet that accurate, because we are not really considering the difference between this yet. But it still can be, you can still use this into the mangrove landscape, peatland landscape, but just this is mainly more on the dryland forest at this moment. But you can
Yeah.
still use it, but you need to um, be aware that maybe the calculation for soil organic carbon is not yet accommodating the mangrove.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. Thanks for clarifying that. I mean, it was discussed yesterday as well during our panel discussion for part one, but I think what Terry's really mentioning here is just that soil organic carbon component, especially for coastal ecosystems, because they're such dynamic systems, it's very difficult to apply estimates for soil organic carbon in mangrove and even for peatland ecosystems as well. So the tool is trying to now update these data layers so that we provide more accurate estimates for that. So currently right now you can use it for these ecosystems, but you're going to underestimate the amount of soil carbon that's going to be in those ecosystems. So it still will provide you a conservative estimate, but it won't give you the true picture. So I think at this stage now, we do want to integrate more blue carbon data layers in the future versions. Hope that answers questions. We are getting a few more questions. Okay, we still have lots of time, so I'll go through them here. Somebody's asking actually also if this can be utilized for freshwater ecosystems, and which could also be sometimes some peat ecosystems, and if it can be also utilized for urban and or rural sites as well.
Yeah, so like I said, we are not covering all of the ecosystem yet, especially freshwater and marine. So we are not having any data on this yet. And for this moment, when you draw the polygon doesn't really consider whether this is urban or rural site, but the way they will identify which one of the how much area that it can be utilized for avoided deforestation or for ecosystem restoration, they will calculate that based on the land cover that is covering this polygon. So if those area, for example, if those polygon have already developed and then many settlement area or in the city area, of course, the area that can be conserved is minimum, and also the area that can be restored is minimum, because for the restoration, the land cover that we use to identify the eligibility for the restoration is the grassland area or open area, and yeah. So if those polygon are mainly overlapped with settlement area, so of course the numbers of the potential restored area will be very limited.
I hope that answered the question. I'm going to go to just the upvoted questions here. So please feel free to upvote your questions in the Q&A as well, and I can try and do them sequentially then by whatever question is most voted for. So another question from Peter Novak. Would you mind sharing more of how you use topography from a deforestation risk perspective? Do you see a stronger correlation between elevation or slope gradient and the deforestation risk?
Yes, so there is strong correlation between elevation and slope gradient with deforestation risk. Deforestation risks tend to be more higher in lowland and flat slope if you compare to the sleepy slope or the higher upland area. So there is a strong correlation on that, Peter.
And I guess that's already integrated in your calculation of deforestation.
Yeah, so I guess for Indonesia context, I will not standardize this for the whole Southeast Asia country. At least for Indonesia, we see why this correlation happened, because also the accessibility of the area. If the area is higher and then the elevation is very high, the accessibility to that area is quite limited. So that's why the deforestation risks are quite low in that aspect. And also because we, in one of our explanatory variables, we use distance to road as well. So that's why it's have a strong correlation on that, Peter.
Great, thanks, Debbie. I think that hopefully that answered Peter's question. I've got another question here, actually probably more directed towards me, or I could help answer it. How many projects have progressed to the, sorry, this is from Simon Chadwick. Thanks, Simon. How many projects have progressed to the NBS incubator and then to the NBS portfolio? Are these other two activities profiled in more detail? Yeah, so thanks. Great question, Simon. I mean, like we said, all three of our work streams under Scene Coalition are quite interlinked, including the NBS tool across these two other work streams as well. On the NBS incubator side, we are currently in our pilot stage. So we are piloting 5 projects, NBS projects through now that have actually started on feasibility studies. And so we are going through that stage now currently. We are looking to do another open call for proposals soon. The date is not exactly fixed yet, but we definitely will keep our Scene Coalition community informed on when we plan to open that call for proposals for new NBS projects to come through. And then in terms of the NBS portfolio, we've been working on a dashboard, which we are going to make public in the coming months as well, which is meant to showcase these a spread of where these high quality projects are currently found. A lot of these, of course, are already with our members. So these are like our own Scene Coalition member projects. But we also want to open this up to more projects in the region as well, and gathering their information and being able to showcase these on the dashboard, which is through our portfolio work stream. So more details to come. We do have a lot of details already on our website, but you are also free to email us if you'd like to get more information about those work streams specifically. So yeah, we'd like to keep everyone informed, of course, of the progress of those. I hope that answers your question.
Gabby, just to add on your question there, I think when we make the NBS incubator open publicly, the application will go through the NBS tool. So we will ask users to develop their pre-feasibility documents in NBS tool. And then as Fatir mentioned, if you click the security number 3, which is allowing us to share the project information to the NBS incubator team, so then it's going to submit it directly to the NBS incubator. But since now we are not yet make it the NBS incubator publicly, so that features are not yeah. But you can send still, like, for getting some feedback or information for the NBS incubator. You can still share it with us there. Gabby, I think there is question about IBET data layers. I guess
Yes.
have so much vote. Yeah, so actually right now we have integrated similar data layers from data layers that is in IBET, which is the key biodiversity area, world protected area, and IUCN threatened species list. Yeah, it's anonym, so hope it answer your question.
Okay, going to the next question. We still have 4 more here to get through, which I think we can do in the next 5 to 7 minutes. How accurate is the estimation of carbon potential in the feasibility report? Have buffers been considered in the calculation as well?
Yeah, like I explained yesterday, we are not yet, using specific methodology that have specific buffer consideration for different type of methodology. So right now, this is mainly like, that's why what I said, with the pre-feasibility, this is not potential carbon credit that could be generated. This is the potential carbon storage. Yeah. Again, if everyone thinks that this is need to be like more contextual to specific methodology, like what someone asking before, need to accommodate FARA methodology or like gold standard methodology directly, we can definitely incorporate that in the next version. But again, right now the NBS tool is really aimed to do the early phase of the NBS project scoping. So then we wanted to allow like the local organization who doesn't have access information about these data and then how they could understand what is their potential in their area can get access to that. But yeah, not so much really on the next stage of that. Yeah.
But this is great feedback that we're getting, and I think it's definitely going to be in consideration for future
Or-
versions. Yep.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everyone giving the feedback today. We do also ask if you can give us some of your feedback in the survey as well, with the QR code here that's been just posted for everyone to see. Please do provide more detailed feedback, because this is the kind of feedback that we'd like to integrate into future versions.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there's a couple more questions left. I'm sorry if I missed anyone's question, but I think there's two more left here, and I'll go with the one that's got the most votes. Will the eligible area for afforestation, reforestation, or forest protection activity for the project be mentioned in the feasibility report as well?
Yes. Yes, they will be mentioned specifically on the report and how the eligibility area are defined for each activities. It will be there.
Fantastic. And last question, unless anyone else has any more questions, please feel free to add them. We still have another 5 minutes or so that we can answer questions. In this platform, the project activity, the main activity is to cover jurisdictional carbon, is the main activity to cover jurisdictional carbon activity? I think that's talking specifically about jurisdictional carbon activity. Does this cover that?
I think because right now this is mainly like on the polygon basis, so this is might not be covering the whole jurisdiction carbon activity yet. Yeah, it's again anonym.
Yeah. Could it be though where we have multiple projects in one jurisdiction and you can kind of combine the results of those to understand, I think, the wider carbon landscape?
Yeah, there is like one of our users put there they asked us to actually give their more access to upload bigger polygon area, and they actually drawing the whole landscape, the whole jurisdiction of the area. And yeah, I would say again, because we are not bound for specific methodology, it can be to understand, okay, from this whole jurisdiction, how much area that can be protected under avoided deforestation and how much area can be restored. But would that be accurate for really generating more information for specific jurisdiction carbon standard? I think user need to recheck it again, because we are not really, you know, uh, yeah, aligning the calculation with specific methodology that is exists right now. Again, I think maybe this is something that we should consider, to have option of methodology that user want to use. Uh, so then
Yeah.
it can be directly used for specific application. Maybe
Yes, and having specific methods.
yeah, I just want to ask, if you fill this survey, there is like other in the last question. Can you help us to you know to clarify which type of methodology that is the most needed for you, so then we can see how we can incorporate that, the most voted methodology. Maybe that's something helpful for us to identify, to make this as our priority.
Right. Okay, we have time for one more question, and there's one more left, so perfect. Has this tool ever been used in a real project to convince potential investors or funders to support NBS initiatives? Are there any showcase projects that successfully received funding and were upscaled as a result?
Yeah, not so much I think for going through like become a real carbon credit yet at this moment. I'm not really aware if it into that level, but we heard from our users that there are a lot of them using the pre-feasibility general template to actually write proposal and impact report to receive more funding for their restoration activity or for their conservation activity, because many of local NGO, they will ask by their funders to to identify the potential impact that could be generated if they continue their conservation. So they are using this tool to get this funding. But up until my knowledge, to really scale for the carbon project, I think maybe only in our NbS incubator, right, Gaby, that's going to scale for the next phase of the project development.
Yeah, and the incubator is meant to provide that support for helping find also those investors and funders as for projects that are under the incubator. So I do think that there will need to be a bit of support through these accelerators and incubators as well for finding those funders and potential buyers. But again, this tool has definitely been utilized, like Dewi's mentioned, in proposal writing to gain access to grants and other types of funding. And within the incubator, we've definitely used it for our pre-feasibility assessments and now into our feasibility assessments as well. So yeah, it's still I think a lot of these projects are still in the early stage. The tool is only launched now just under 2 years ago, first version. And I think as we start to see more and more projects come in through the tool, we'll be able to have more of those success stories available to speak to. Okay, that's all the time we have for today. I'm very glad and proud that we got through all of these questions. I do think there was a quick question on getting certification for this webinar. This isn't a training, so we won't be providing any kind of certificates for attending this webinar, but I do want to just direct this kind of question more towards the incubator and the capacity building and training that we will be providing through the incubator as well to frontline organizations. So just to keep an eye out for some of the announcements that we'll be making around that. And those specifically should have certificates available to participants. And okay, just since we are nearing the end of the webinar, I just want to thank all of the participants for joining today. I think this has been a really engaging session, and we're so glad to be able to unveil version 2 to you guys first, and now it's going to be available for everyone else to utilize as well on the web. Please do check out the Scene Coalition website. We do provide information on all of our work streams on there. And of course, if you have any other questions or feel like anything is missing from our website or from these sessions information-wise, please feel free to email us at info@scenecoalition.org. We'll be happy to answer your questions and get in touch. Great. So please fill out the survey if you have a moment. We'd love your feedback. You can do this in your own spare time. We will also send a follow-up email with this QR code as well, just again to gather your feedback specifically to on the session today and yesterday if you were able to join. And yeah, as you use the tool, we'd love to hear more about your thoughts on what else could be integrated. Thank you all so much for joining again, and take care, and please look out for more information about future sessions. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.